Hey, what's up guys? Node Investor here. Bitcoin continues to knock on that resistance, trying to break through. So far, positive action in the very short run. So let's take a look at the charts. I'll show a few other alts that I'm watching as well. And we'll take a look at Ethereum because it's really tight here versus BTC. And so let's get to it. Looking at BTC here, yesterday I posted a quick update following this massive reversal that we saw early in the day. It was a big bullish engulfing candle. Hard to see here on this chart, but there was a wick that undercut the Monday low, which is positive, and the fact that we finished well above this prior consolidation and on higher volume was very good to see. And then for the most part, the next few hours, we just saw this consolidation, very constructive pullback right to this moving averages, typical kind of bull flag type of action. And earlier today, we started to see the momentum come back. It's exactly what we wanted to see. I was pointing out that we were seeing some resistance being tested here, and right now it's trying to get through that zone, but this is the level that I'm watching right here. You can see yesterday's rally stopped right at 10 EMA on that daily before pulling back. And then earlier today, right at the close, we started to see it go right into that range again, pulling back here, and now we're starting to break through. So very positive to see that, but we're still below this horizontal price resistance. Right now that sits right around that 63.80 level, 63.70 on the Coinbase exchange. And so getting through this zone will be very good, but we're starting to break through little by little. It's still looking positive. I'd like to see a little bit more daily volume come in and then ultimately get above this prior range, this consolidation that we saw for over a week. Getting above that would be very positive, would be solid confirmation that this big reversal candle has been negated, this reversal that we saw earlier in the week. So getting through that would really be positive. So that's what I'm watching. But right now in the near term, prices are looking good. Let me zoom in here a little bit. You can see just the momentum we've seen. This is the 1 hour chart. Good action, very positive, good follow through following yesterday's big reversal. So far so good. Just keep an eye on these moving averages. They're starting to head north. We want to see the prices maintain above this little bit of a range. Same thing on the 4 hour chart. The 10 EMA is just now starting to break through and reverse above the 22 here on my chart. And so I like what I'm seeing. Again, just keep an eye on this reversal. Look at this resistance here as prices approach that level. Before we jump in the other charts here, I want to very quickly remind you guys here, I am going to be kicking off the next month's group next week. So we are technically in November. The current cycle, current group cycle runs through this week, but I'm going to already signing up new members. So if you're interested, go to nodeinvestor.com. We've got a vibrant community on our private channels. We do private group streams, lots of good resources that are shared there, a lot of good chart ideas. And just for all levels of traders, cryptocurrency traders and investors, you're more than welcome to join us. We'd love to have you. Check it out. If you want more information, nodeinvestor.com/training. There's a link to the insiders group. You'll get some more information there. And again, we'll be adding new members this week through the weekend and kicking off early next week. So let's get back to the charts here. I want to show Ethereum BTC because this I use as a little bit of an indicator for how the alts are doing versus Bitcoin. Now, many of the alts are moving right now, but a lot of them are just kind of coming off the lows on the daily chart, still below resistance. But look at how tight this has been here for the last couple of weeks, just sitting very flat, the last couple of days. If you go to the weekly chart, still relatively tight, and this is really the level that I'm watching here. Getting out of range for Ethereum would be a good signal for the overall altcoin market. You can see it's still below moving averages. Moving averages are still inverted, and so we want to see this thing start reversing and getting back above and leading the way up. If this starts to outperform BTC, that will bode well for the rest of the altcoin markets. And so this is a chart I'm definitely keeping an eye on here. It's sitting very flat, very tight, so it's going to be interesting to see if this can break out here in the next couple of days. Another one I'm watching here is Ripple. Look at Ripple BTC, just how tight it is. Starting to edge out a little bit here today, trying to clear some resistance. So looking pretty good. But if you zoom out, I mean, look at how flat this chart got after this big spike we saw a few weeks ago. And just sitting very tight, very flat versus BTC. Pretty much just on par with Bitcoin, kind of following suit. But now just starting to edge higher. Let me zoom in, look at that 1 hour chart. Gaining a little bit of momentum here as well, starting to outperform Bitcoin here a little bit. So watching this one here just because of how flat and how tight that chart has become over the last few days. Binance coin also showing a little momentum here today. If we zoom out here, look at the daily chart. It's been in a little bit of a downtrend versus BTC, but it has held these lows right around that 14 800 level. You can see it's been holding and just trying to turn the corner. It hasn't confirmed yet on that daily chart. I'd like to see these moving averages start crossing over, price at least getting back above the longer term moving average. But in the near term, certainly looking positive. You can see here the last several 4-hour candles, a lot of volumes coming in here. And so all in all, just good positive action on Binance Coin. Definitely a name I'm keeping an eye on here. A few others very quickly. Walton's on the radar. Nice little consolidation here after that break above resistance, has been sitting tight, starting to set up here versus BTC. On the daily chart, this has formed a nice rounded base here at the lows, and it's right above resistance right now. Moving averages are still heading north, so got to keep an eye on this one. Smaller cap name, but looking pretty good here in the near term. ZIL looking pretty good here. We did see a listing exchange added to this. They added it to Bittrex. Was nice to see. I jumped on ZIL yesterday here, and we saw that little pump come in earlier today. Pulled right back to this moving averages, trying to head back up. We'll see how long that can keep going. But the daily chart on ZIL looks pretty good here. I'm really liking this long-term base that it's been putting in, this big flat low. A lot of volume coming in here in the last couple of days, so keep an eye on this one. Showing some signs of accumulation, liking what I'm seeing. Again, I do have a position on this one right now. This big volume spike here earlier today was due to that Bittrex exchange adding it, but that's just adding momentum. I didn't pick up my position because I was expecting that. It was a nice setup in the longer term, but that is certainly adding to the fuel here, so I'll take it. And one more is QuantStamp. Been keeping an eye on this one here. I did trade it a little bit here a couple of weeks ago, and on the daily chart, it's still looking pretty good. I mean, it's still holding above these moving averages. Big volume spike here a few weeks back, and since then just kind of been consolidating. It's right back at that point, trying to close above this prior closing high on that daily chart, so I'm keeping an eye on it here. Volume patterns are positive in the near term. If we zoom into that 4-hour charts, you can see it's breaking this little bit of a downtrend it's been in, bouncing right off these moving averages, and so starting to march higher. I'd like to see some more volume come through if it does start to break above this resistance, but definitely one that's on my radar right now. So those are just a handful of names that I'm keeping an eye on. We've seen plenty of movement here today, though, in some of the altcoin names. Just continue to see that rotation. A lot of quick pumps and pullbacks, but you're starting to get this sense of more accumulation, more momentum starting to show up, especially as Bitcoin is trying to test and break through this resistance level. It's bringing a lot more confidence back into the market here in the near term. But I'm watching the big picture. If you zoom out, again, that daily chart, just want to be mindful of that. We did see that little bit of a shakeout earlier this week, and if we can get back above this range that we were in last week, that will prove to have been a very good shakeout attempt, because we were tight for almost 2 weeks before we saw that big break to the downside, which didn't see any follow through. And right now we're bouncing. We're starting to get back above some near-term resistance, but if we can break back above this range that it was in for nearly 2 weeks, then that will show that this was a false break to the downside, and above these levels, above this 64.50 level, the bulls will have a lot more confidence, and you can start to really see some momentum pick up if Bitcoin can get back above those levels. So really liking what I'm seeing near term. I am cautiously optimistic because we are technically still below some resistance levels, and so got to be mindful of that, but I'll take it one day at a time, and right now leaning on the bull side. So good news all around for the markets. See if we can get some follow through as we head into the weekend. Just wanted to bring that quick update, guys. I appreciate you watching. Until next time, take care, everyone.